Morning, everybody, and thank you for being here with us for the monthly update on the Edge Invest Newman Credit Fund. The month of September was quite tough for us, especially because of the macro shorts. I think our bearish view was predicated on Brexit effectively getting worse, negotiation falling apart, and we suffered almost 75 basis point there, so almost 3/4 of a point. Our view remains the same. I think we are into a very complicated blaming game at the moment, but we still view a constitutional crisis the most likely outcome in the next few days, with a lot of pressure between parliament and government in trying to deliver Brexit, as we do not think there will be an agreement reached between the parties. That could still lose some money for us, probably another 50 basis point, but at the same time we think the risk reward are very much skewed, especially in a market which is priced for perfection across many assets, in particular in Europe. Obviously, Brexit would have far-reaching implication across just the different countries. It wouldn't just be UK and Ireland or Italy and Europe in general. So away from that, obviously we've been very focused on trade, remain of the same opinion even there, where China effectively has changed completely tactics. China will drag along US, it will make a deal more and more difficult, and then will use that to impact the electoral chance of Trump for next year, which we see as one of the biggest risks for the market, where we're going to move from a tax-cutting Trump administration to a tax-increasing potential Warren administration, and that would have a major impact on the equity markets in US. Away from that, we suffered on other shorts, especially in credit. We have two major focus at the moment for our credit shorts. One is relative to the TMT sector. We discussed many times, but we think we are accelerating the process now, where we'll see a spectrum auction in US. It will be a very expensive spectrum auction for 5G. It will be defined by the end of this year and then effectively executed next year. They will have major impact on satellite operators, for which we are positioned. We really like SES, the European player. At the same time, we're very negative on mobile operator in US. We think the merger between Sprint and T-Mobile will be consumed, and we are positioned with credit shorts there and equity positioning on the spread. At the same time, we think the approval will create a new very powerful competitor, will be Dish, for which we think there's plenty of upside in terms of the credit and the equity, but at the same time they will create an enormous amount of pressure on Verizon, AT&T, which we view as very vulnerable, both credit and equity. So we think that's an incredible sector to be involved with. There will be plenty of catalysts going forward, and we expect to see very big movement in terms of pricing and the capital structure. At the same time, another sector we're very active is the pharmaceutical and pharmaceutical product distribution. It's both in Europe and in US. Again, US will be at the forefront of the action, with all the details about the drug pricing becoming very politically intensive through the electoral campaign, but at the same time this tragic opioid disaster which has been happening in the United States. And then thirdly, the path towards legalization of cannabis, which has initiated obviously in Canada and is becoming more and more powerful also in US. Those are the three big themes, all related around drugs. We think credits on the pharmaceutical company and distributors are very, very tight. We see major disruptions there, major deterioration in their fundamentals. At the same time, we think the opioid crisis will escalate. We will see either potential bankruptcy or filing for preemptive bankruptcy, and obviously we are being positioned in the book for that. Away from that, obviously during the month we had a setback also coming from BASH, the old claim against the estate of the Banco Espirito Santo, which was effectively expropriated in 2015. Obviously, Portugal went through new elections. The government was re-established, the same government as before. We think they increased the possibility of a general settlement, or fair settlement, I would say, rather than generous, over the next 12 months. So we remain quite positive, but obviously the demand and supply on the illiquid security has been negative for us. So overall, we see plenty of macro headwinds. It's obvious also the ECB will be very different from the ECB we had before with Draghi, and we see plenty of credit catalysts and equity catalysts for big sectors, TMT, pharma, for which we're very nicely positioned. Thank you.